So I personally have had a rough month, like mentally. It's been really hard for me to sort of get up and go and sort of have that attitude. I've taken every excuse in the book to be distracted or to be um, just lazy, to be honest. And that's okay. I'll give myself grace. I'm human. I go through things too. Um,
Mhm.
but the example of there are like a time and a place for massive action, I hadn't reached out personally to any of my VIP group people at all this month. So something that I would normally do on a consistent basis, reach out to a couple people every week. I hadn't reached out to anyone, and it's the end of the month. So an example of where some massive action might be necessary is that. So I actually had some motivation today. I felt really good. I've been working out regularly again. And I sat down and I was like, you're going to do this, Kate. And I literally bossed myself around. And I reached out to almost everybody in that group. I posted my results in the Facebook page, but I'm now up to about 5 orders. I was able to actually take a couple people out of there who shouldn't be in there anymore, just for various reasons. They've joined my team or whatnot. Um, I have a few other people still looking at the link. I actually booked a party for March in one of those conversations. So I did get results from that. But that's not something I would do all the time, right? I wouldn't be forcing myself to reach out to 100 people a day because that's bonkers. Okay. So um, that kind of behavior, like massive action behavior, just isn't sustainable. Um, and not even that, but it can actually lead to worse results. It can lead out to not only burnout, of course, right? Like that's not something that we can sustain, like I said, but it can
Mhm.
actually lead to like the opposite of confidence. Like it can lead to be like, oh well, okay, well I tried, and I'm just obviously not cut out for this. Like who's been there? I've definitely been there. When you put too much on your lap, like you're trying to do too much, you're trying to have too many conversations every week, because maybe your star director told you that you have to have a certain amount of conversations each week in order to be to see results, right? And then you're like, okay, well, Kate said I had to talk to 15 people a week. So then you do that for 3 weeks, but then what happens? Like you're like, well, I don't want to do this anymore, or this is sucking at my whole life, or whatnot. And then you put that on yourself and you make that about that you're not good enough, and you make that about your capability in this business and not just something that humans can't sustain. Okay, especially when us humans are like, this is a business, which means we have to decide when we show up. We have to decide when we can show up, when we will show up, even if we can. Sometimes we don't. And we always have something else going on in life, right? We always do, no matter where you are in your life and your Scentsy business. Um, so setting the precedent for yourself that massive action or just working harder is the way to go leads to burnout, like I said, and the feeling of failure that you're not good enough or capable. I just want to make sure I read from my notes so I didn't miss anything. Um, it also sets the mindset that business success comes at the expense of your life. Okay, I want you guys to hear that because that is something that I think most people think about their business. That in order to be successful, it will come at the expense of the rest of your life, which is the opposite that we are trying to do, right? And it's the opposite um, thing that we are trying to communicate to people. Like we are telling people, this business will give you the freedom of time that you've always wanted. Yet in our minds, we connect that success to working harder and being with this business at all times because of the massive action mindset that we've given ourselves, right? Or that other people have given us. Um, you begin to see it as Scentsy or family, right? Scentsy or freedom, Scentsy or whatever it is. That's your or. And like, who wants to choose that? Because like, I don't, right? And that's not what I'm here for, and it's not what I've ever been here for. And that mindset or any of those mindsets, they're going to shut the door on any desire or real thoughts of giving your business an actual shot, right? Like kind of being all in, being like, okay, you know what? I am going to do this long term. I am going to give it my all. If you think that giving you your all means literally sacrificing everything you've ever loved, right? As far as like time goes, you're not going to do that. So who can relate to that, first of all, like a burnout from unsustainable effort? Yeah. Do you have a story to tell about that, Tony, or just like a general, like you felt that way before?
Yeah, I've definitely felt that way before. There's not really a story, but
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I was trying to come up with one myself too, and I couldn't come up with anything specific. Just multiple times over the years that I've tried to do things that I think were just a little bit too much, right? And I'm not saying don't go out of your comfort zone, because I do think that that's important as well. And that your efforts should be a little bit more than what you think you're capable of, but not like double or triple, right?
right.
And we'll go into that. So instead, what if you decided what your baseline action will be and then just showed up every day for it? And I'll explain what baseline action means. But I just want you guys to hear that. So it's just doing the little things regularly. So when you have success in your business, the things that you're going to be doing on the daily are going to be kind of boring. Like none of it's really super exciting. The exciting things are the results and the team coaching and seeing other people succeed because of your efforts. Like those are the exciting things. Those exciting things about our businesses, right? Like new catalog season, woo, that's exciting. But the little mundane tasks that you have to do day in and day out on a regular basis, those aren't exciting. So, sorry, I'm going to just read what Patience said. I've upped my Instagram post because I was getting success there, but I've got nothing but crickets. I will persevere and continue doing my posts. Perhaps it's not time for people to spend right now. I tried promoting the clearance sale hard and got nothing. Okay. Patience, I really liked what you said about how you're going to keep doing it. You're going to persevere. I can't remember if you were online or not when I was talking about Megan. I think you were. But Megan, for example, has been doing this sample posting now for like a few months, and she's now just getting results from it. Sometimes in marketing, and almost with everything, to be honest, but in marketing mostly, we need to build the trust with the people who are following us before they actually jump on a sale. And believe it or not, like asking people to just make a sale directly from Instagram, especially, they're like a finicky market. But even Facebook and even wherever else is almost like the end goal. Like you have to sort of date them first, right? And before you take them home, you need to take them out for dinner. So instead, and this is something I learned actually from one of my like marketing genius friends who actually has a master's degree in marketing. She said, asking people to just directly make the sale isn't always the way to go, especially if they're strangers to you. So in my VIP group, I'll be like, look at this. This is awesome. Buy it right now. And people will because they know, like, and trust me. But if I'm on my business page where there are strangers who are following me, I don't make sales like that all the time. Typically, I'll do a softer approach and pull them towards my VIP group, where then I will slowly build a relationship with them, show them I'm a real person, make connections. And from there, I build a sale. So I hope that makes sense. So like I said, I liked what you said about persevering. Definitely don't give up. Keep doing it. Maybe just watch some trainings or try to finesse your approach a little bit. Dinner before dessert. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So the reason most people fail, and I'm talking just in general, either with their goals or with their business, you guys, is they neglect to do the small, boring tasks consistently. Okay, it's really easy to do all of the crappy, boring things I tell you to do each week. Like, okay, Kate, I'll do follow-ups. And someone might do that for like 3 weeks and then fall off because it's not exciting to pick up your phone and open your Amy app and like message people. Like that's not exciting. So they don't do it. They think there must be something more to this, right? It can't be that simple. Like really following up with people and having conversations, that can't build a business. There's got to be something bigger. I'm missing a system. And then you waste all this time trying to dive deep or watch trainings. Like how many hours of training have you watched in the last year, you guys? Endless, right? Yeah. Endless. And how many of those ideas specifically have you implemented into your business? Like maybe 3, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So stop looking for the next shiny thing. It's really, I promise, it's really down to the mundane tasks. Okay. And it's doing them over and over and over again. All right. It's not just doing them once or for 3 weeks or during an incentive period. It's literally just making it part of your lifestyle. You're a business owner, right? The person who owns the cupcake shop isn't always like decorating the cupcakes. Sometimes they're doing crappy paperwork in the back. Right. So you're a business owner. You have to act like the CEO of your business. I am not going to come over to your house even before COVID and force you to do follow-ups. You just have to choose to do them. So the problem and here's sort of what goes into that, like how many hours of training have you watched? It's not the lack of knowledge, right? If you come to me, I don't care if you're 1 second into your business and tell me that you don't know what to do, I'm going to call a big load of smelly poo BS on you, okay? So it is not the lack of knowledge. Even if you're brand new, you have access to the workstation. You have access to your consultant training guide that you got. YouTube has literally an endless and always updated, ongoing wealth of information. That's actually how I basically built my business, as I watched YouTube trainings from SSDs and then did what they told me to do. Obviously our team page, patients, you're not in this. You have these weekly things. You have the training center on your workstation. So many things, right? You guys know what to do. We talk about it all the time. IPAs, right? The 3 legs of success. There's only really a handful of things you have to do to build a business. And you don't have to do anything, but you know what I'm saying. If you really want to make it like efficient. The problem is not consistently implementing those things. So it's not that you don't know what to do. You do know what to do, but you have, for one reason or another, neglected to actually do those things on a consistent basis. Okay. And I'm not here to shame anybody. That is totally fine. But just being aware of what the problem is can at least help you move forward and identify when you're making that problem. So when you're like, I'm lying in bed today because I'm having a tough mental health day, that's fine. There's no shame in that. There's no judgment coming for me for that. But at least you can be aware of, all right, my business isn't going to grow today because of my effort. Like that's just like, you can't have both, right? And Patience just says she attends trainings on Tuesdays with the head office lady, Sarah, right? I think. Yeah, the all consultant training call is gold. It is so, so good. So I'm so glad that you do that. Do you do it right, like live, Patience? I think you go right at noon. I love it. I love it. I love it. I know Kim went to it a couple weeks ago too. Yeah, awesome. So you'll actually be put into a draw for a free gift too from Scentsy because you attend live. So win-win. Okay. I'm going to compare it to fitness goals. This will not be the first or the last time you guys will hear this comparison from me, but I think it honestly just goes so well and really illustrates my whole point of massive action versus just small, consistent things. Let's say that your goal is to lose 15 pounds. Hi, COVID-19 gained here, okay? So I'm working on it. Which do you think would actually yield better results? So today I'm going to do 100 crunches, 100 squats, 100 jumping jacks. I'm going to drink 4 gallons of water, and I'm going to only eat lettuce today. And then for the rest of the month, screw it. That should like really, really get me in there though, right? If I don't die. Or what if I just did 5 short 15-minute workouts for 5 days this week? What if I replaced one of my meals with a vegetarian option and I drank 4 bottles of water. Which one would actually get me results? You guys know the answer. Yeah, duh, right? One, unless you're literally going for a bodybuilding competition, number one is not sustainable for most average people. I couldn't do 100 crunches if you literally held a gun to my head. I would actually die. Okay. And not only that, even if I could do that one time because my life was on the line, I would not be able to do that on a sustainable, consistent basis. Right. And that one burst of effort and energy isn't going to just like melt away anything that I want gone, right? So it's not going to give me the results I wanted anyways. Will I burn 1,000,000 calories? Yes, but not in the way that I want to, right? Now, something that I can do on a consistent basis is wake up and do a 15-minute workout with a 10-minute stretch, which is actually what I have been doing. It's not hard. It's short and quick. When I start it, I know it's going to be over soon. So it means that I can show up again the next day, right? I've picked something that I thought was sort of kind of fun, like sort of enjoyable. And I can make small, consistent changes to my lifestyle throughout the week. Like, I like healthy food, but I also like chips and burgers. So like, I'm not going to change everything because I just know that I won't be able to sustain that. The same thing goes for our business, you guys. Small, consistent efforts are what are going to get you there. Do the things that matter regularly. Okay. Now I'm going to actually show you what that actually like looks like. So first, you have to decide what tasks matter, right? So you're not just like showing up each day being like, what do I work on today? And then the 15 minutes that you had to work your business today are gone because you've just scrolled social media trying to find an idea. So you have to figure out first what your business goals are, like what you're trying to do in this whole thing, right? For everybody, one of your goals should be to grow your network. And I'm not talking about goals like you want a $10,000 paycheck. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what areas you want to sort of grow in your business, okay? For every single person, unless you're literally here for personal discount, and if you are, you're not listening to this anyways, that will include growing your network. It will also include sales, obviously, right? Those are the two very basic things in our business. If you want to build an actual business with a team and a downline, it's going to include recruiting and coaching. And you should also make time for mindset growth and development, right? Those areas, we've talked about those before, are like umbrellas, right? So you can't go, okay, today I'm going to work on recruiting. Well, what the hell does that look like, right? So you have to sort of like think of recruiting like an umbrella and think of the tasks that you can actually like take action towards that will help you towards that umbrella goal. Okay. So decide which tasks you're going to do in all of those areas. And I honestly recommend a very caveman approach to this. Just honestly do a brain dump, right? So you can even do like a mind map, like you're in grade 8. Okay, create a little cloud around recruiting and then take out some little sticks and decide and really just go as far deep as you can go. So if you want to recruit, let's say, you're going to know that you're going to want to have conversations. Okay, well, where are you going to have those conversations? With who are you going to talk to? Like really go down to, and then what? And then what? Like with who? Where am I going to do that? And then when you get to the very final, like a specific person or a specific task, that's the thing you do, right? That's the thing that you have to take action on. So honestly, just do a large brain dump. So write down all of the areas you want to grow, like we talked about a few weeks ago, and make sure that the areas are large enough so that you can kind of narrow down. So like maybe part of your sales focus will be increasing your Scentsy Club subscriptions. Right? Well, then how are you going to do that? So like increasing Scentsy Club subscriptions isn't the task that you perform. That's the thing that you want to do, right? So you really have to narrow down and decide what kinds of tasks are you going to do in the Scentsy Club subscription increase under sales. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So you're like, have this one big umbrella goal or result or whatever that you want, and then you really narrow it down to a specific action you can take. So if you've ever wanted to know like what you should be doing in your business daily, that's how you figure it out. You figure out the different areas and then you literally just narrow it down. So then decide how much time slash effort, okay, because it's not always the same, do you have to work on your business each day? So if that's 15 minutes on your break at work, that counts. Okay. If it's 10 minutes after you tuck the kids in bed, or you wake up 15 minutes before they wake up, that counts. Okay. It doesn't have to be a large quantity of time. Literally anything counts. Then decide which days you're going to do each task. So let's say recruiting again. Maybe you take the 10 minutes you have on Mondays and reach out to 3 people, right? Where do you get those 3 people? Maybe on Sundays, you add to your dream team list. Okay. So you can just literally choose. And if you have more than 15 minutes, then you could probably be doing one thing from each of the little umbrellas each day, right? Or you could be making a larger effort, more intensity effort. But I just really want to make sure that it's very, very clear that you guys don't need a large quantity of time to work your business. When I first started, I had a 5-year-old and a 6-month-old. I was on mat leave. I had a little bit of time because I wasn't working technically. I was at home raising basically a newborn colicky baby. But I did go back to work 6 months later. And I worked for a few years in my business before I was able to replace my income with this business. See the income disclosure, okay? The result's not typical. But I didn't just get to this place that I'm at because I've always had the time to do it. I literally made the time to do it, which is the only reason I'm here in the first place, okay? So is growing your network maybe a goal? Like maybe that's one of your umbrellas, and it should be, no matter who you are, what you're doing here. Okay. Make Tuesday maybe the day that you post your sample form, Tony, right? Or Kim. And comment on 5 people's profiles, not about Scentsy, right? If growing your network is your goal, then building relationships with people should be your goal, like we talked about earlier, Kim. Now, I say 5 people's profiles for an example because I don't want you thinking that you guys have to talk to 25 people a day in order to see results. But don't get hung up on the number, okay? I want you hung up instead on the habit. So if you can talk to 1 person today or comment on 1 person's profile today, and you talk to 7 people next week, and like maybe it varies, it like dips and valleys. That's the same thing. Maybe it just does this. You don't want to do that. So don't get hung up on the exact amount, get hung up on the habit. That's really where the focus is right now. Taking action each day is the thing that counts. Focused, intentional action. The amount of people you talk to isn't as important. Just set realistic expectations. So I also know that if you are talking to 3 people a week about recruiting, it's going to take you a little bit longer to get those results than the person who's talking to 20 people a week, okay? But as I mentioned at the beginning, if you are the person who is only comfortable talking to 1 person a week and you push yourself for 3, I think that that's realistic and doable. If you're that same person who then tries to beat that person and compare to that person who's talking to 20, you're going to burn out because that is not a sustainable number for you. Just because that's a sustainable number for someone else doesn't mean it's right for you, okay? I work my business full time now. I don't have the excuse to not talk to a lot of people per week, okay? So my number and my effort and the intensity of my effort is going to look different than the person who works 3 jobs or who is just doing this for fun, okay? The person who consistently, and I can tell you this when I'm about to say, you guys, I actually have like evidence in my own downline to sustain what I'm about to say, okay? The person who consistently has a few recruiting combos every week, or, consistently every week, and closes or tries to close every party with a host kit is going to get better results than the person who only talks about the opportunity during like an incentive period, for example, but then talks to like 100 people at once. I literally have seen this exact thing go on in my downline and in other people's downlines. for years. There are lots of people who will not talk about it or won't do any of these actions that actually count until there's a special or until they have the summer off or whatnot. And then they go like a crazy Tasmanian devil, and then go back down again because like they're exhausted. Then there's other people who just sort of like, it's like the turtle in the hare, right? Like there's just, if you're just consistent and slow and like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's gone. But if you're just that like regular who just does what needs to be done, even if it doesn't look exciting, or even if you don't think you're working hard, that's going to yield better results for you than the Tasmanian devil who's rip roaring around everywhere. Okay. So instead of focusing on on the results, like for example, like I need 2 recruits this month, focus on the effort instead. So I've talked to you guys about this before, but it's really important to know that it's having the conversations each week, right? It's focusing on that, creating that habit, and then focus on just the growth of your business. So if you have more PRV this month than last month, who cares if it's a million or if it's 400? Like, who cares? If you have more, that's growth. And that's something that I've also had to learn as I've watched so many of my friends, like my Sensi cousins or whatnot, shoot up way past me. They may have joined after me and they reached SSD within 2 years and I'm still sitting here. Like I've had to learn how to be like, okay, I'm going to just focus on my own growth. I'm going to stay in my own lane and I'm going to realize that growth counts, and growth, no matter how big or small, is worth celebrating. Okay, so I want you to focus on just growth. So if you've been doing that sample form, for example, like Tony said earlier, and she got 1 new contact, that's growth, right? That is the growth of her network. That is worth celebrating. Okay. So don't focus on the numbers per se. Don't be like, okay, well, yeah, I got 1 new person. That's great, but I wanted 5. So I guess I'm a loser. Like that's what happens when we focus on specific results, is that we tie those results into like our worth almost, right? So rather than focusing on specific things, focus on broader, like creating habits. I am the kind of person who shows up for my business every day, right? That is that's a habit that you can sort of start to create, rather than I am the kind of person who recruits 5 people a month. You don't get to control that. You can have a million conversations. You don't get to control who says yes. So don't put your worth or your confidence in your capability of this business in other people's saying yes, right? Or other people clicking on your survey, or patients, other people buying your things from Instagram. Okay. So like I mentioned before, you guys, there will be times, even seasons, where increasing the intensity of your effort will be necessary, like an incentive period. Okay. So if you're creating the habit of just slowly inching along and being consistent, and then a free vacation comes along that you can earn, probably small little incremental efforts won't get you a free vacation. I say probably because I'm trying to be nice, but it won't. Okay. You're, you're going to have to increase that shit real quick. Okay. But when you have the foundation of simple, repeated, and consistent action, increasing the intensity isn't impossible. It's not going to feel impossible, especially because you know you don't have to sustain it forever, right? I do work my business every day. I'm definitely serious about my business every day. It's literally what pays our bills. So I can't completely slack off even when I have bad months. But I will tell you, during incentive periods, when I have the time to travel, like thanks COVID, but normally when I have the chance to travel for free with my husband, when with no kids, you better believe I'm going to increase my effort. So the things that I normally do, I still do them. I just do them harder. Okay. I just go like more hard at it. So you've already created the habits, like I said, and it's that habit, you guys, that is the hardest thing to do. So you could go from talking to 5 people to talking to 20 people a week if you've been talking to 5 people for the last year. And there's so many different reasons for that. The habit obviously is one of them, but also if you have been doing those consistent actions for the past year, guess how big your network is going to be? Guess how much larger of a pool you're going to have to like sip from, because you have built that habit, because you have been consistent over a longer period of time. The like you could go hard. I'm going to use Kim as an example because she's my newest person here. So Kim, yeah, what's up? So Kim could take massive action right now and it's almost not going to matter. Okay? Because her pool of contacts just isn't going to be enough. What is she going to do? Talk to the same people every day? Hey, I know you heard from me yesterday, but I'm trying to just talk to as many people as I can today. Like, that doesn't even make sense. But as she grows her business next year, her contact list is going to look totally different. If she has, I'm going to say 20 contacts now. It's more than that, but let's just say 20 contacts now. She can only, those contacts only know the people they know, right? But in a year, when she has 500 contacts, that's going to be a larger pool of people to ask. Who do you know who might be interested in my business? And who do you know that might need a fundraiser this year? Like, you know what I'm saying? So if you have done the consistent actions for this long period of time, the like increasing your effort is actually going to make a difference, and you're actually going to have people to talk to like increase that effort with. Okay. But that intense effort shouldn't be your status quo. That's not going to be your normal. Okay. I don't want you thinking that you have to work harder to get results. I don't want you thinking that you have to work longer to get results. I don't want you thinking that you should know more people like off the bat to get results. I don't want you thinking that you need to sacrifice all of the things that you love. Like I said earlier, I don't want you thinking you have to sacrifice your family time to get the results. Will you have to sacrifice some things? Yes, always, but you get to decide what those things are. Sometimes for me, it's the little folder on my phone that's labeled games, because I have about 400 in there. Okay, sometimes I have to delete them because I can't update my game that I love because there's other games in the way of my memory. Okay, so I don't want to work my business instead of hanging out with my family, but I guess I could like do it instead of playing a game, maybe. Okay, so like I haven't really been doing that this month, so that's why I had to take massive action today, right? But you guys get to decide what you sacrifice. So when I was working full time, I was a waitress or a restaurant manager or a bartender, depending on the day. Depending on the day you caught me, I was like 14 years into my Kelsey's career. Okay, so I would work shift work. Sometimes my days would be 12 hours. Then I would come home to 2 kids. During some of that time, I was also pregnant with the 3rd kid. That was really fun. So it was long days working with the public, which is really, really good for your confidence and like your mental health, right? That's why all bartenders are raging alcoholics. I didn't have time to just work my business when I wanted to or when I was awake. Or like just like during normal day periods, I would have to sleep in because I was up till 2 a.m. Like it was a whole thing. So instead, I literally just had to find the time, like I said earlier. So yes, there will be sacrifices. But if your business is worth it, what you're working towards is worth it, which it was for me, I'd already decided that I wanted to quit my job forever. So I was willing to wake up earlier than I wanted to be. I came on calls just like you guys are right now, later than I wanted to be on my days off or on the days that I only worked during the day. There was lots of times where I just fit my business in and I did steady the same things over and over. And it was mundane and it got boring, especially for my like cookie Gemini self. Okay. But then I got to tell my boss, I'm never coming back. So when you do like those boring ass, like, okay, I guess I'll follow up people again, or like, or you do the scary things that you want to do, like you ask people if they want to do this business with you. You do things that are out of your comfort zone. You go do a bingo party for the first time, or you go live on your Facebook for the first time. You're doing that because of the bigger picture, not because somebody told you to, hopefully. Okay. Maybe I told you to, but you shouldn't be doing it because of me. Okay. So if you could be the person who shows up every day, no matter for how long, no matter how many conversations, or no matter how many tasks you do, and do those things, and then gives those things a chance, like Patience talked about, you guys can't lose. Okay. You can't fail at this business if you are just going to be the person who shows up and does those. Slow and steady wins the race. Exactly, Kim. Exactly. Yeah. You just have to you have to be in the race. Like, you have to be willing to show up to the starter line. Is that what they call it in the sports? Okay, I'm done. It's almost 9 o'clock, so I've had you guys for 45 minutes. Who has questions, things to ask? Who wants me to clarify anything? Who doesn't believe me that actually doing the simple things works? Raise your hand.
I believe you.
Okay.
So you're saying, like, when you make the task sheet, that's something like, so Mondays would be whatever you're going to do, and like however many days a week you want to do it, and just make sure you do it on those days.
Yeah. So like I said, do a brain dump of all the things that let's say that you think you should be doing. Let's start there. So do a brain dump of all the things under the umbrellas, right? So probably what my brain dump would look like would just be like a piece of paper, because I'm a pen and paper kind of girl.
Yep.
And it would just have headlines. So one headline would be recruiting, and I'd leave space underneath it for the recruiting tasks. The next one would be growing my network, sales, right? I'd have space under each headline or topic that I could write down the tasks. Then I would literally just like write down all the things that I think I should be doing because I either know it works, or I've heard it works, or someone told me it works, right? Or I'm already doing it, like all those things. Then, and maybe it's too much. That's usually actually what you find when you do a brain dump like that. I was told a few years ago when I was like a new star director to do a brain dump of all the things I do in my business in a month. So you could do that too if that like sort of method works for you, or that brainstorming method works for you. Write down everything you already do in your business, or you think you should do in your business, and you're probably going to find that you have way overcomplicated things. That's what I found. I was like, I am doing too much.
I always overcomplicate
Yeah.
everything.
We literally do as women.
I overthink everything. It's awful.
Yeah, 100%. I'm a believer, Kim says. Okay, good. Me too, absolutely. Yeah. So I think that, and Patience, I'm probably sure that she would probably, and if you don't overcomplicate things, get out. Just kidding. You could stay. But I don't think I've ever known a woman who's like, no, I really like to keep things simple. Like, no one does. I agree. Yeah. So you're probably already doing too many things. And that is part of this exact problem I'm talking about, is that you're probably already working really hard in this business, right? You're probably already doing so many things and then just not seeing results, and then just being confused. Because you're like, okay, well, I do work all the time, Kate. I'm working an hour a day on my business or more, or whatever it may be. I'm using all of my extra time to work my business, but it's probably because you're just doing things that feel busy, but that don't actually have an impact on your business, right? So, and I do that too, you guys, okay? So I'm not saying that like anyone is perfect in this or immune immune to doing this. It's literally just something that we do. So if you ever feel like that, even in the future, just keep this in mind. If you're ever like, I'm working so hard and like nothing is happening, do a brain dump of everything you're doing, and then circle only the things that you've learned have an actual impact. And like I've said before, it's very few, right? It should always land under the 3 legs of success plus mindset. It's like a little like ding. But it should always land under sales, recruiting, or coaching. Okay. And coaching means coaching one-on-one with your sponsor, or coaching one-on-one with your frontline. Okay. That's exactly where I'm struggling. Yeah. So we can see all the shiny things, Kim. That's really easy for us to see, right? Especially if you're new. That I found that really, really difficult when I was brand new. I had to literally keep a notebook beside my bed in order to allow myself to sleep. Yes. because I would literally stay awake. I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago. I would literally stay awake because I was afraid those brilliant ideas I had would leave my brain if I didn't like stay awake. So then I was like, okay, what if I get a notebook and I would like lazily write down the brilliant idea I had and be like, okay, Kate, you can go to sleep now. Like I had to give myself permission to just like stop like seeing all the shiny things. And I'm pretty sure that if I went to a doctor today, I would be diagnosed with ADHD. Like, and I'm not even kidding. Like, I feel like I've been like learning so much this last year about that mental diagnosis. And I'm like, that would actually make so much sense. Like, my mind is just like, bing, 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 constantly. Yeah, Kim. Yeah, we've talked about that. So it's so easy for us to get off track with the things that are important. So just remember, IPAs are anything that directly contributes to your sales, okay? That actually grows your PRV directly. The action that you're taking right now, does it actually help you grow your sales? Or are you pretending that it's helping you grow your sales? Okay. So for an example, something that could be that you think is helping you grow your sales is spending 4 hours designing the perfect postcard to put in your party orders, because eventually that might help you grow your sales, right? If you're putting in postcards about whatever the hell, okay, your referral program or a Scentsy Club or something, yeah, that will probably help you grow your sales like down the road. But you've just spent 4 hours of your life on Canva, guys. I don't say this because okay, I've done that. Okay, so I'm trying to say I've done that exact thing. I have literally like tried to design certain things, and I literally look down at my computer. I'm like, my day is gone. That's where I spent all my time, and it did nothing, because you know what else helps grow sales? The postcards that are already freaking designed for us that we could just order. Okay, just remember how much your time is worth. Okay, if you don't want to spend the $8 on postcards from the Vistaprint portal, well then how much did that 4 hours just cost you? Like, is your time worth more than $2 an hour? Probably, right? So if you think about it in that sense, just order the freaking postcards for $8 or whatever they are, okay? So that's an example of things that we think help us, or making really beautiful samples and then never handing them out to people. Like, make the samples, that's fine. And if you have extra time to make them pretty, or that's how you want to spend your time, that's fine. Do that.
I did what you said, because I was using the felt and I just took a flippin' X-Acto knife and cut them yesterday.
Yeah, that's how
Yeah.
I literally make all my samples.
Yeah.
Kim was a customer of mine for, I don't know, like a year, Kim, something like that, right? So she knows every time she ordered off me, she got a hunk of wax. Okay, she didn't get a butterfly or a star or a little bar, no, or like a little like pumpkin at Halloween. Nope, she got a hunk of wax. And that hunk of wax is usually from the scent of the month, because I'm able to stick a scratch and sniff sticker on the bag, so I don't have to worry about making or printing or reordering labels. Okay, everything is like overly simplified in my business, and that's for a very good reason, because I really overcomplicated lots of those kinds of things for years and years and years. So yeah, hunk of wax is where it's at. Felt
Yeah, it
samples.
definitely took me like half the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, I cut up, like my customers get half a cube each, because again, they're my customers. If I'm giving it to, I don't even give samples to strangers, but for an example, if I'm doing a fair or show, they get smaller. Like, I'll cut up that cube into little itty bitty pieces so you can almost not even see the wax. Because like, I'm not in the business of giving my product away. I'm sorry. Did you want a bar? Cool. They're $8 or buy 5, get 1 free. Like, so, but I'm not about like making a bunch of pretty things. If that's what you find joy in, let me be clear. If that's what you find actual joy in, and taking that away means that you want to kill yourself every time you have to work your business, then make the butterfly samples. Good, do that. But the real income producing part of samples in the first place is the actual follow up about them, not about making them, not even about handing them out. Handing out a sample, flash, like newsflash, is not an income producing activity. Do you know the actual statistics of you if you hand out a sample to a stranger, like in a grocery store or something, of them ordering from you? It's like less than 1%. Like it's like I used to do that. I used to try and like get new customers that way until I learned that statistic, and I was like, I'm gonna stop doing that because I wasn't brave enough to ask for their information back. That's why. So I was like, okay, well, I'm either going to ask for their information back or stop handing out samples. I made the decision to stop. That's just me. If you have bigger cojones than I do, then ask for their information back. Like hand it out. So what I used to do with people who I sort of knew, but sort of like moms at the yard at the school who would be like every day, you know, like those people, like they're not even acquaintances. They're just the people you smile at on Monday to Friday. I started taking the enter my drawing form with me to school, and I would force myself to ask one person a day. And I just made up a drawing. Like I would actually give a prize away like once a month. It was like cool or something dumb like that. But I just created my own drawing, and I was like, hey, I'm just having a little Scentsy giveaway this month. Did you want to enter it? Like, no purchase necessary. And they're always like, all right. So that's sort of how I gathered information, right? Back in like the old days where you saw people. But now, like that's the same way that we use the sample form on Google Forms or on Jotform, right? It's the same idea. You're just doing electronically now. So you're just gathering people's information. Sometimes those people will be people you don't previously know or people you didn't previously have their information. Following up with those people is what's going to get you the income, not the handing out, okay? I'm so lazy, they just get one cube. Patient says, when my customer base grows, I need to start cutting them smaller. Yeah. Well, the reason I cut them is because I'm lazy and I don't want to overcomplicate it. But for now, I break off a cube and there you go. Totally makes sense. Yeah, so I do half a cube. I think that's still generous. And for people I don't know, they get a little bitty, like a dot of wax. Or like the felt samples actually aren't bad because you don't give a lot of wax away, right? I was gonna say something else though. Oh, about the brain dump. Woo! See what I'm talking about with the ADHD? That was a tangent. So with the brain dump, you're gonna have your whole list of things that you think you should be doing in your business, and then you're going to circle just the IPAs. Okay. Remember, income producing activities. So it's directly the things that actually bring you income. Most of the time, you guys, that's going to just be having conversations. Like that's 90% of the income producing activities that we have. So with the samples as an example, the income producing activity of the sample thing, the sample drama, is actually having the conversation with that person, asking them how they liked it. Okay, how did you enjoy it? Blah, 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 blah. That's going to lead to a sale or it's not. Okay, but that's still an income producing activity. An income producing activity under recruiting is obviously going to be having conversations. Okay, posting on social media, I'll count that as a 0.5 activity. That's not like a full 1 point activity. Okay, because most of the time we try and get away with posting on social media and then calling it work. Most of the time, that's where I see people fail in this business, is thinking they're working. So they post on social media, but never actually go one-on-one with people. So it's actually having one-on-one conversations, which is why it's important to build the trust of our community that we're trying to sell to, that we're trying to market to, because people do business with people they know, like, and trust, right? I'll take the half point. Yeah. Yeah. So follow-up patience is literally one of the most important things you could do with your business. Follow-up is going to help you not just follow up with samples, but follow up with everybody, every person who ever places an order, every person who ever expresses interest in your business, every person who even likes or hearts, double taps the post you made about the opportunity. Following up with all of those people are going to be the things that build your network and builds the relationship you have with others in order to sort of like make that last like hit. Okay, like you can't be like, hey, did you want to like, have you ever thought about joining my Scentsy team, or have you ever thought about doing this as your own side hustle? And they'd be like, who are you? Like, you don't ever want that to happen. I'll give you an example and then I will let you guys go unless you have other questions. I literally just got a message from someone who I'm not even friends with on Facebook. She messaged me once, like in 2014 or something like that, about a Velada grill, and Velada isn't even a company within Sensi's umbrella anymore. That was the last conversation we had. I had to like scroll up our conversation history, but the message I got from her was, "Hey, I'm not sure if you saw, but I just started my new business. I'm really looking for, like, basically she was looking for people to host and join." I'm not even friends with her on Facebook, so that means she was going through her friends and just cold messaging people. This is a bit of a tangent, you guys, but don't be gross, okay? I literally replied to her. I was like, not a great tactic. Kind of like gave her some like coaching, and I was like, I appreciate the hustle, but like that's what gives our industry a bad name. So maybe work on building relationships with people first. And she was like, oh, I just wanted to like see how you were doing. I was like, that would have been more appropriate actually. And maybe like hopefully it goes better for you from now on. Peace. And blocked her. I was like, this is that crazy. Yeah, gross. Yeah. I'm not saying that's what you're doing at all, patients. I just that like got my head thinking about that. But we do genuinely do business with people we know, like, and trust, right? Or at least business with people our people know, like, and trust, if that makes sense. So like that's why our hostesses friends buy from us. Their friends don't know, like, and trust us, but if they go, okay, well, Tony knows her and she's vetoed her, like all like lines aren't crossed, like everything Tony says she's cool, then I'm going to trust that she's cool, and I'll do business with her. But it's also why doing parties is so important, because it gives a little, even if it's like a micro dose of what your personality is like, which is also why it's important to be authentic in your posting, whether it's on Instagram or whether it's in a party or whether it's whatever. Because if you're just copying and pasting from your upline or other people's posts that you've seen, then it doesn't sound like you, and people know that, and people can like realize that it, like, people know when it's a copy and paste post. You know when other people are copying and pasting posts. When you're seeing ads on Facebook, they just sound robotic almost, right? So be authentic in that. Do you have any other questions, Tony, or patients? I guess Kim had to leave. She has 2 little kids, but
I'm good.
you're good. Okay, so you know what you're doing with the brain dump? All good. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So write it down and then circle only the things that matter, only the IPAs, and you're probably only going to have like 7 things to do all week. Okay. You're probably going to start with a list of like 25, and you're probably going to narrow it down to very, very few. Then if you can get in a rhythm and you find that you still have extra time, sure, sprinkle in those extra little cute things that you wanted to do, but you didn't circle, but don't start there. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, guys, it is 9:50. We are right at an hour that seems appropriate to leave. Thank you, as always, for being here. I really, really appreciate it. I hope this helped you, and I hope it helped sort of give you hope, right? That you don't have to be a stay-at-home mom like I am in order to run a Scentsy business. You could just do it in small increments. It's building the habits. Don't focus on the results. Okay. Okay. Good night, you guys. Stay well. Love you.